What is up, everyone? Kyle here, otherwise known as Twisted 500, back with another, series this time. I want to introduce a new series to you guys. I talked about it a little bit last night on the live stream, and after thinking about it, I think it's a great idea. So one thing I've always wanted to do with you guys is build a car. Basically, test out parts, see which parts goes the furthest for your money, which parts are the best bang for your buck, which ones are a waste of time, stuff like that. I don't have enough budget, I don't have any friends with the same cars to buy two cars and test different parts. So what my goal is, kind of do it what real world. Most people are just gonna have one vehicle. They're gonna have, most people aren't gonna have like a dedicated track car. It's gonna be something that they drive to and from work. It's gonna be not really a daily, but something that they could drive to work if needed. And then they drive to the track as well. So my goal is get something relatively cheap, get something, kind of build it into a track car for not a lot of money, because obviously not everyone's gonna have big budgets, and see how far that takes us. With that, I'd like to introduce the new project car to the channel, old project car, wife's 2011 Mustang. A 100% stock 2011 Mustang. You guys can see, basically got all seasons on it right now. Great winter tires. It's in a little rough shape, as you guys can see, when driving to and from work. Stock brakes, stock power. I know what y'all are thinking. It's not a GT500. Those people who've been here for the channel for a while know it's a 2011 V6 Mustang. There's no possible way it can be a dedicated track car. There's no possible way it can keep up with the GT500, which is my goal. My goal is to build a car, not a lot of money, and see how close, if maybe even beating the GT500 we can get. It is possible. Think about those Miata people out there, absolutely dusting high horsepower cars because their car is light, and it just handles really, really well. So that's my goal. Take this car for relatively money. The goal is $5,000. All I have is $5,000 to spend, which I think is relatively fair. Not a huge budget, but enough to where, you know, it's something that most people would be able to do without maxing out credit cards, things like that. That's my goal. $5,000, turning this car into a GT500 killer. You think we can do it? I don't know. Stay tuned, find out. Guys, there it is, 2011 Grabber Blue Mustang. New project car. Think we can make it a track car. But first, let's get this thing cleaned up. Got some snow on it. You guys see it's absolutely filthy. Gonna run it to the car wash real fast. Kind of see what it looks like at a starting point. Get some first videos, and let's get to it. Before we get started, one part I will say I will not include in the price, strut tower brace, and I have a rear strut tower brace. Already had them with my first Mustang, the red one, which you guys might have seen on the channel. That one, so that already had it. I'll tell you guys, 150 bucks, I got both of them. I won't include it in the price, but I will try to keep that in mind when staying another 5,000. That's 150 bucks in those two items that I bought. It's on the car now. I will take it off for initial testing, just kind of get a feel. Obviously, these tires are absolutely terrible, so kind of baseline numbers might be a little difficult. We'll see if it's even safe enough to even take on a track. I might just build like a little cone course in a parking lot, get some testing there with stuff like that. We're gonna go get some gas, clean this thing up, get some decent driving impressions, some baselines of just how the car feels. So that way we have something without, with it being winter, obviously no tracks are open around me. It's currently 36 degrees outside. Just the way it is. We'll have to go to the track later, but I want to see how the car handles just in its stock form. Now, when it comes to track cars, you want the ability to shift on your own, select gear, stuff like that. The unfortunate thing about this car is it is an automatic, is what it is. Some people that want to go to the track probably will have, like some people will have manual cars, that's fine. Some of you will have automatic cars. That's just the way it is. This car isn't a performance pack car. Ooh, wow, this thing really just like leans over in the corners. This car isn't a performance pack car or anything. It's something that just looks decently nice and is designed to just get the best gas mileage it can. It has 273 gears in it. Don't know, I think it's 273s. I'll have to look it up. Don't know if it's 273 or 293s, but just stupid long gearing. Which way are you turning? So yeah, I think it's 273s. We'll go with that. 273 gearing, just super long. On the shifter, I can select 1, 2, 3 gears, first, second, and third, which based on the gearing, I might not need anything more than that, based on how much horsepower this car makes, not very much. So I might be able to just use that. It does work. So downshift, you guys can hear that does actually change gears pretty decently fast. Obviously, it's got a sloppy converter, not designed to really hammer shifts. It is on the factory tuned. It is a, what now, an 11-year-old tune, maybe 12, depending on when the car was actually made. So that probably needs updating to a more efficient calibration, things like that. So that's something we can do as well. A lot of things on this car that I feel like we can improve. $5,000 goal though, or I guess limit, makes me really want to go through everything and see what we will get the most out of. Obviously, suspension is going to be huge on this car. It just rolls over in the corners. The Shelby felt really planted, really inspiring is probably the best way I can describe it. You would lean out, like you would take a turn in the Shelby, take a corner hard, and it felt like nothing. It would always feel like nothing. It just felt like it could handle it, like there is no limit. Obviously, you would reach a limit, start to slide, things like that, but it just felt so inspiring. This car feels fun, feels fast, but feels scary. I know that kind of doesn't sound like a great expression on how to describe the car, but here I'm going 30 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour, and I feel like I'm absolutely just flying through these turns because the car is rolling over, the car is leaning, like you feel weight shifting. And obviously, if you're trying to go fast, that's not what you want the car to. You want the car to be planted as much as possible, but it just feels like it's all over the place, simply because of those big tires. The sidewall takes up a lot of bumps, makes it smooth, but those sidewalls also make the car sloppy. The suspension is sloppy. It's the original suspension. There's a lot of room for improvement there. And this thing's just fun to drive as it is. It's on these little back roads here because you feel like you're doing something with it. Obviously, I want the car to be tighter, but you feel like you're actually driving the car. You feel like you're pushing it when you're not, which if you're trying to go as fast as possible, you don't want that. If you're just trying to have fun, it's a good baseline. I feel like this car, obviously 176,000 miles on the way to the gas station. I feel like with that, obviously it's an older vehicle, but I feel like this might be a pretty good baseline to start. Just some cheap Mustang. Obviously, a GT would probably be a little better. Find one cheap. You spend a little bit more money, make a little bit more power with a GT, but that would definitely be more of a track-capable car than this. Got gas, got it filled up. Now we'll see how much the weight of the gas can change the way the car handles. Basically, the car had maybe 3-4 gallons. Now we have 16 gallons in there. So we'll see. This is a good test on how old, how worn out the suspension is, because if the car drastically changes handling characteristics, it means suspension is really worn out. First impressions, just driving away, Huge difference. Steering is much heavier. I feel the car just, man. Suspension absolutely worn out. It is stock suspension, so obviously I expect that. But man, this suspension, it's probably the one thing I'll change relatively quickly, would be suspension, simply based on how it feels. All right, we're taking those same roads that we took to the gas station, just in reverse. Car feels more planted. Everything feels firmer. So yeah, so maybe a little bit better suspension settings. Upgrade suspension. Car will definitely handle a little better. Here, let me know what you guys want too. Obviously, I have an idea in my head of what parts I want. Obviously, some things are going to way below the budget. Other things won't. Let me know what you guys want to see. If I can work it in and you guys want it and it's a decent idea, it's not like, I don't know, lift this thing or anything like that, because that's not going to work. But if it's an idea you guys want, it's a decent idea, like a good idea for the direction that this car is going to go, let me know, and I'll definitely throw it on if we can make it work. Obviously, if you want me to engine swap this, I ain't going to do that for $5K. So let me know. If it works, we'll throw it in there. And I'll give you guys a shout out too. If it was your idea and I use it, I'll tag you guys so that way you get credit for it if I didn't think of it. Taking these roads back, car feels much more planted with the weight. So yeah, I would say suspension absolutely done. And this feels actually decent. It's amazing what some suspension can do. Doesn't want to, it throws the weight differently for sure, but it's still throwing the weight around. Yeah, it definitely is not like getting thrown through corners. I feel like with the Shelby, I felt like I was pointing the car. This time I feel like I'm coaxing the car, like, come on, get over. While the Shelby just like darts exactly where you want it to go. But they're two completely different breeds. If I can get this car anywhere close, to the Shelby, that'll be a win for a lot less money. I think that would be an absolute success. What I will say is, for those people that are actually watching this drive, I'm going to put the information in here, so that way you guys have to look. I know, evil, right? So the Shelby went a 117.9 around Gateway. There's more than one configuration to Gateway. If we continue to use the old configuration, it'll be perfect. If they change, they recently, if you guys have ever been to St. Louis, you know, they added like a drift portion where FD drifts. If they add in that section to road course events now, I'll just calculate how long it takes for me to go around that section and then just cut it out. That's not going to be an exact science, unfortunately, because I'll just have to basically estimate how long it would have taken me and then just cut that part out. So I would have to basically beat it pretty substantially to know for sure that, yeah, this thing would be faster. But with that being said, I went a 117.9 with the Shelby. A lot of traffic. That was just my best lap out of the events I went to. Theoretical best was a 115.9, so 2 seconds. I could have improved with the Shelby. But like, so basically what a theoretical best is what it calculates to be your best time. Actual best is what you went start to finish. Easy. Theoretical best is it takes up all your fastest sector times. Track's broken up into sectors, and it takes all your fastest sector times, puts them together, and that would be basically your perfect lap. It's not a perfect lap, it's just what you would have done if you added everything together of all your best sector times. I think I still had more in the tank than that. I feel like I could have went faster at some sections, watching some video just because I was nervous, new, things like that. So I think the Shelby could have went faster than a 115.9, but if we get right around the 118 mark in this thing, I think that would be absolutely fantastic. I don't think so. I mean, 118, 119 is doable. I've seen Miatas go like 110s around that track. So that gives me hope that I'm just not as good a driver as some other people, which when it comes to road course, not. It's just how well you can handle your car, how well you can push it to the limits, how well you can use the full capability of the limits of the car, which is why which is why I think I would be able to get close. But like I said, we'll have to see. We'll have to see which parts actually have the biggest impact on that. So when it comes to building like a race car, time attack car, track car, anything like that, there's 5 major categories that you can all hit. I'm going to try to hit all of them. Obviously, I don't think I'll be able to really get deep into some of them. But my goal is to hit one in each category and then see where it goes from there. Obviously, you got power, increase power, decrease the weight, upgrade suspension, brakes, wheels and tires. Now you might be able to include wheels and tires and suspension into one, but I think they are different because if you just change suspension, it'll completely, without changing wheels and tires, the car will completely handle differently. You change wheels and tires without changing anything else, the car will handle completely differently. So I think that they are separate categories. So those 5 main categories is what I'm going to try to hit. I'll try to do one from each and then go from there. Brakes is probably going to be the hardest because obviously I want to throw a big brake kit on this, but I can't. Big brake kits will probably run, you know, 3,000-ish. Obviously, if you buy something really cheap, we'll just have to see. All right, guys, so that wraps it up for this first video. This thing needs properly cleaned. As you can see, we're gonna get this cleaned up here. Gonna make sure, prep it, so then that way we can test out these products for this new clear coat. You can see still a little dirty. This thing is going to get ceramic coated here first. Gonna make it look the part before we really start working on it. As you guys know, take care of my vehicles. This one's has just been a daily, so obviously it gets washed, it gets waxed twice a year. It does have a ceramic coating on it, but it's been so long, the salt and everything has just accumulated on top, so I'll just take it all off, redo it. We're gonna get this thing cleaned up looking nice, and then we'll really start hammering into it. Let me know what parts you guys wanna see. I'll make them work if I can, but basically, we're gonna see if we can get this thing as fast as a GT500. Stay tuned.